So let's talk about microphones. I know, a whole bunch of audio folks just cringed. Bear with me. For solo production, but really for any production, I think the best thing you can do to make your videos look good is to make them sound good. Most people will forgive bad video as long as they can hear the audio and follow the story. But if your audio is bad and they can't understand what you're saying, they will leave in a hurry. For the kind of videos that I produce, the sound is the foundation that everything else rides on. I should be able to turn it into a podcast with not a whole lot of effort. Of course, there are exceptions. You can have an entire piece with no dialogue, and that really wouldn't pass the podcast test. But I can guarantee you the sound will still be important. Sound design is always important. But that kind of layered sound design is really not what this video is about. We'll save that for later. This video is about getting good, clean sound while shooting solo. I've built a couple of one-man band setups from scratch. And the most important thing for me is always the ability to capture clean, clear, reliable audio. And for a solo shooter, reliability is key. So I have two mics that have served me well over the years, and those are the ones I always go with because I know I can trust them and I know they'll give me good sound. So you may be asking, if you have two, what's up with the bag of mics? Sometimes you find out what works by finding out what doesn't work, things that burn you. I've bought a few mics over the years that haven't worked out the way I thought they were going to, and they live in this bag in the garage. For some reason, I haven't been able to throw them away. Maybe this video is the reason. So let's see what we have here. Let's speed this up. You don't want to hear a long rant about my exes. Plus, there's a little bit less in here than what I thought, so maybe I did give some away. Anyway, here's a quick rundown. The first is a very cheap handheld, but it turns out that most built-in computer mics sound better than this thing. The next is an old digital wireless set. I know they've gotten better, but the latency on this one, the delay from transmitter to receiver was unbearable, especially when you're monitoring sound, which we'll talk about in a minute. This one is actually a pretty good mic, so I think I'm going to put it back in rotation. Maybe use it as like an on-camera mic. Forgot it was in the bag. And the last is this horrible cheap handheld that doesn't even work. But I kept it for just one reason. If you want to do a mic drop, you don't want to do it with a good mic. Okay, that's enough about this bag of bad decisions. The important thing is, when I went into business for myself, I knew what I wanted. Most of this applies to interview-style setups, and I want to keep the tech talk to a minimum, but some of it can't be avoided. The first, and my most favorite, is a good shotgun mic. Basically, a shotgun picks up sound from the direction it's pointed and blocks out sound coming from the sides to varying degrees. Point it at or just below the mouth, that's what these videos are being recorded with. I've used the Rode NGT4 Plus for a few years. It sounds great in my less than humble opinion, and it works great for video production. I use the Plus version because, like I said, some tech talk can't be avoided. Shotgun mics require power. You'll hear phantom power. Most of the time, that power is supplied by the camera or professional audio recording equipment through this XLR cable, this little three-prong thingy. But if you're recording with a DSLR or a mirrorless camera like the one I'm recording with here, those cameras can't supply phantom power to the mic, so it won't work unless the mic can supply its own power. The cool thing is, the Plus version of this mic has a rechargeable battery on board, so you can use it with cameras that don't supply phantom power. I've used it with proper video cameras with XLR inputs, and I've also used it with DSLRs. One problem with using a shotgun mic solo is mic placement. Traditionally, you'll see the mic at the end of a boom pole, and if you have a crew, you can have someone hold the boom pole. But for solo shooting in an interview type setup, I use a C-stand. C-stand is kind of a multi-purpose stand. You'll see them everywhere. And this one has a little mic holder attachment at the top. So you just put the boom pole in. I set it up out of frame, but as close to the subject as possible with the mic pointing at their mouth. Works great most of the time. But you can probably already see there are some challenges. What if the shot is too wide to keep the mic out of the shot? Or what if the subject's moving? That's where my other favorite mic comes in. The Sennheiser G4 lav mic system. Lavalier? I don't know. You tell me. This analog lav mic system and ones like it are what I kind of grew up with. In a TV station, these things are everywhere. They don't sound incredible. Some mics are better than others, but they do sound good. and they are reliable in most situations and mobile. The little mic is omnidirectional, meaning it picks up sound from all around. So unlike the shotgun, you have to be a little more careful that you're not picking up sounds you don't want to hear. Plus, the mic can rub on clothing or jewelry as the subject moves or gestures, and it can cause some really ugly sounds. Which brings me to my next extremely important point. Monitor your sound. I know this is about mics, but if you're shooting solo, you have to have some way to monitor your sound. Sony MDR style headphones are kind of an industry standard. That's what I used for years. But when I put together my current setup, I bought these Zoom headphones. No, not that Zoom. Zoom, the mic people. If I'm on a true solo interview shoot, it means I'm the one that's asking the questions or prompting the talent. After checking the mic and setting the levels and making final adjustments to lights or whatever, I put the headphones on and I leave them on for the entire interview. It may feel weird at first, but they disappear from thought pretty quickly. And with them on, I can hear essentially exactly what's being recorded. So I hear any mic problems while I'm sitting there instead of when I'm sitting back at my edit desk when it's too late to do anything about it. Some people use earbuds or ear pods to monitor sound, and that's fine if it works for you. I just still love over-the-ear headphones. So those are the mics I swear by, but I'm exploring some new options, including some digital wireless mics. Oh, and the podcast mic. Hold on a second.
All right, the podcast mic. New model made by Zoom, not top of the line, but it sounds pretty sweet. It's nice for voiceovers and things like that, but you have to be pretty close to it, so unless you're videoing your podcast or your instructional video, it can be kind of intrusive for video production. All right, like the video, subscribe. There's a lot more audio and mic information to talk about, including group shoots, music recording, dedicated audio recorders, post-production, and we'll try to get to those in later videos. Drop a comment with any questions or tips or tricks that you may have. We'll see you in the next one. Take care, y'all.